Hi, welcome to the Mr. Fork. Hi guys, welcome. Let's do the rules of the road today. So please don't forget on pressing on that subscribe button. And also switch on your notifications so that you don't miss any post that we upload. Right. So the rules of the road. So I'm gonna start reading from here, okay? Says that the rules of the road are here to protect every user of the road and must be adhered to at all times. If each and every driver adhered to these rules of law, we would have the safer roads here in South Africa. So, if you are from outside South Africa, this what we are doing, it's preparation for the learner's license here in South Africa. But also people from Swaziland, people from Botswana, people from the UK, we use the same rules of the road and we use the same laws. Okay. Right. So let's go down to the general rules. So we have then what we call general rules. General rules says that number one, always drive on the left hand side of a two-way road. You may drive on the right hand side of a one-way road if it is safe to do so. Number two, always maintain a safe following distance from the vehicle in front of you. That is 2 seconds in a light motor vehicle and 3 seconds in a heavy motor vehicle or a truck. Should conditions be poor, adjust your following distance. So now, many a times we are given the following distance as 2 seconds and as 3 seconds. It's not, it's not very often where we are given in terms of meters. So we then tend to assume to say that it could be around 45 meters, the distance that you should keep. But it's not like you have to get out of your vehicle and you measure that distance anyway. Okay. Should conditions be poor, adjust your following distance accordingly. So if conditions are poor, what do we mean should conditions be poor? If maybe it's raining, and then you can't see clearly, if it's snowing, if there's a mist, if you see those conditions where you cannot see clearly on the road, so you then increase the following distance. Always display your vehicle license disc. This is valid for 12 months. So the license disc of a vehicle is valid for a period of 12 months from the day of issue. Okay? Always obey the instructions of a traffic officer. They then take precedence over any road rules or traffic signs. So if the traffic officer says stop where you are not allowed to stop, if the traffic officer says stop, you stop. You don't say, Mr. Officer, I'm not allowed to stop here. You obey the instructions of a traffic officer. All right, then let's go down to divided roads. The rules with regards to driving on divided roads. Where a road has been divided by either a painted line or physical barrier, always drive on the left side of the division. This barrier or division may be crossed at an opening or space where it is specifically indicated to do so. So you don't just cross. You see, we have an example here that you may only cross where there's an opening or space. So say for instance, this is your road, okay, and then it's divided with a solid line like this. You don't cross this line at any time unless there's an opening like this. Then you can cross it. Mhlambe, you want to come this side because you want to make a U-turn. Okay, then you can cross it. But if it's just a solid line, you do not cross it. Okay. Driving on the shoulder of the road. Do not drive continuously on the shoulder of the road. Should another vehicle intend to overtake you, you may move onto the shoulder of the road if you can clearly see no other distracting vehicles or pedestrians at least 150 meters ahead. This may only be done this may only be done on a single lane road and between sunrise and sunset. So we are talking about the shoulder of the road. When we're talking of the shoulder of the road, we're talking about the yellow line. So you do not casually drive on the yellow line. You only drive there if you want to allow another person to overtake you, okay? But you do this between sunrise and sunset. This is to mean that you do it during the day, and you do it if you can see at least 150 meters ahead. All right, but if it is a single lane roadway, let's look at this. Let's say you have this road, one vehicle is going there, another vehicle is coming back, okay? And then you have this roadway where all traffic is going in the same direction. If all traffic is going in the same direction like this, then there is no need for you to move to the yellow line if you are traveling here. But if this is the road, then you move to the yellow line to allow another person to overtake you. Right, now let's move on to the rules with regards to parking. So here they say, do not park in the following areas. So they're saying at any place referred to in stopping your vehicle. Then they say see page 60. So as we go down, we will see the rules with regards to stopping. So this is to mean that where you are not allowed to stop your vehicle, you are also not allowed to park there, because you are not allowed to stop. So how are you parking your vehicle? Right. And then we have point number 2. You're not allowed to park your vehicle in such a place where you would obscure a road sign on the sidewalk unless such vehicle is being used by a street vendor or hawker, sidewalk or pavement, at the entrance of any private or public road, within 1 meter of the edge of a road outside an urban area, unless it is in a designated parking bay, within 1.5 meters of a fire hydrant. All right. Some of the images, this book has some of the images I will show you shortly. Within 1.5 meters of a fire hydrant, and then within 9 meters of a pedestrian crossing, within 5 meters of an intersection, upon the actuating mechanism of a traffic signal. So this is to say that, or this to mean that you do not park your vehicle emarobotini, all right, at the traffic lights. You don't park your vehicle there. And then this is where I was reading. And then with your left wheels further than 450 millimeters from the edge of the pavement, unless permitted by a road sign. On a road that is less than 5.5 meters wide, unless it is a one-way, in a traffic island, in a pedestrian lane, or in a pedestrian mall. Okay? And then we come to in a loading zone. Loading zone, you don't park your vehicle there. Now, understand that. Let's read the bold there. Understand that failure to adhere to these rules will result in a fine and or your vehicle being impounded. The above rules do not apply to emergency vehicles, on-duty police traffic officers, and road construction and maintenance vehicles. They do not apply. Okay, right. And then we go down to these then are the illustrations. 9 meters from the pedestrian crossing then you are not allowed to stop further than 450 millimeters from the road edge. So this is the road edge. Sorry. This is the road edge. So you are not, you see, this guy is further with this gap. Okay. So your tire should be closer, should not be further than 450 millimeters. I hope you guys understand that. And then we come to the fire hydrant, 1.5 meters from the fire hydrant. And then in a pedestrian in a traffic island there. And then there, you're not allowed to stop your vehicle in a road that is 5.5 meters wide, 5 meters away from the intersection. So these are the images of what we're talking about. Then let's come to overtaking or passing another vehicle. The rules with regards to overtaking or passing another vehicle. Unless prohibited to do so by any road sign or marking, you may overtake a vehicle where it is safe to do so by passing on the right of the vehicle. Only return to the left when safely past the vehicle. All right, so you overtake on the right, okay? Unless there's a sign which says do not overtake, but overtaking is allowed. Overtaking is allowed unless there's a sign. You only return to the left side when you have safely passed the vehicle, okay? And remember that when you are overtaking the vehicle, it's not like it's a stationary vehicle. So you must also measure the safe distance before you return to your lane. Okay. Sorry. Never overtake where your visibility is limited. If you cannot see clearly, do not overtake. Okay? Never overtake a vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing. If there's a vehicle that is stopped at a pedestrian crossing, you are not allowed to overtake that vehicle. Then when passing a stationary bus, always check for passengers boarding or getting off the bus. You don't just pass. Right. Then we come to overtaking or passing on the left. Overtaking or passing on the left. You may overtake on the left where the vehicle in front of you is turning right. You are allowed to overtake the vehicle on the left. But if the vehicle is turning right, you may overtake on the left where there are 2 or more lanes for vehicles traveling in the same direction. However, the saying, keep left, pass right is the safest. That you drive on the left and then you overtake on the right. Okay, is the safest. Never cross over the yellow line when overtaking on the left. Okay, so guys, understand, you overtake on the left when the vehicle in front of you has indicated to turn right or when it is turning right. If it indicates to turn right, but you must always check, is there enough space for me to pass on the left without touching the yellow line? Because you are not allowed to drive on the yellow line when you are overtaking on the left. Fork. And then being overtaken. When another vehicle intends to overtake you, move over to the left if it is safe to do so and maintain your speed without accelerating. You move slightly to the left. You don't accelerate. You maintain your speed. Okay. Right. And then the keep left, pass right. So you see, this is the keep left, pass right, only when safe to do so. Right. You overtake on the right. So this one shows you that you move from here, you overtake this side. All right. Sharp. It's correct, this one. It's what we want. You don't overtake. Overtaking on a bend is prohibited. Hence, you see the cross there. You don't overtake on the bend. On a bend, sorry. And then overtaking near a pedestrian crossing. There's a pedestrian crossing here, and then there's a vehicle here, and then you are overtaking. Is prohibited. We don't want that. We do not want that. And then overtaking oncoming traffic. Oncoming. So this is you are overtaking, but there's oncoming vehicles. No. We don't want that. Fork. Right. And then overtaking solid line. So this one is no crossing double lines. So you are not allowed to overtake here. It's prohibited. All right. Right. And then now we have the sketches. This is the sketch 1. Okay. You see? This is the sketch 1, vehicle 1, vehicle 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. This is the sketch 2, vehicle 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then this is the sketch 3, sketch 4, and 5. Right. Let's read what's happening there. Crossing or entering a public road on or traffic lane. You may only enter a public road when it is free of other traffic long enough for you to safely enter it. Okay, sorry. You may enter a public road when it is free of other traffic long enough for you to enter it. So if you see that there is not enough time for you to enter it safely, you don't do that, because you are putting yourself and other people in danger. You may only enter or cross into another lane when it is sufficiently clear for you to do so. And then number 3 says that do not enter into or cross an intersection if it will cause an obstruction or traffic flow when the signal changes. All right. This can pose a danger to other traffic. Okay. So this one is straightforward, guys. Number 2, let's come to signals. Signals or indicating. They say here, always indicate your intention to turn, to reduce speed, or to stop by using indicators, brake lights, and hand signals. So you must always indicate. Ensure that you do this, allowing sufficient time to warn all other road users of your intention. Hand signals are not to be used on a freeway. There is hand signal illustration on page blah blah blah. So I took notes and then I made this. All right. So you do not use hand signals on a freeway. And then turning left. Ensure that you are in the correct lane according to any lane direction arrows. Indicate well in advance. Then you keep as far left as possible as you are about to make your turn. All right. So if you are turning left, number 1, you must make sure that you are in the correct lane. You are in the lane for people who are turning left. Then you keep as far left as possible as you are about to make your turn. Once you have turned, adjust your speed accordingly. Right. So guys, the most important thing here is that you must indicate well in advance. Guys, if you are turning left, you do not indicate here and you are turning here, but you must indicate while there is still enough time. Okay. Right. And then we come to once you have turned, you must adjust your speed accordingly. So if you find people speeding, you should also adjust your speed to match the flow of the traffic. Then let's come to turning right. Turning right. Ensure that you are in the correct lane according to any lane direction arrows. Indicate well in advance, then keep as far to the left as possible as you are about to make your turn. Number 2, give way to oncoming traffic and wait for a suitable opportunity to turn. And this is your road. This is your road here. All right. This is the road. Where now you want to turn here. Okay. The road is divided like this. So you keep as far right as possible. But if there are vehicles that are passing here, you wait for these vehicles to pass. Then when there is enough space and time for you to then turn, you can then turn. Okay, you must not disturb people who have the right of way. In other words, we can put it like that. All right, allow ample space for vehicles behind you to pass on the left. So hence why I was saying you must keep as far right as possible so that you give enough space for people that are following you to overtake you on the left. Before making your turn, ensure you pass the crossroads center lines. Do not cut corners. Do not cut corners. So you turn exactly into the lane where you are going. Now let's come to mini circles and roundabout. Okay, at all mini circles and roundabouts, the rule of the law is yield to your right. So that is to say that the person who is already in the traffic circle approaching from your right has the right of way. Okay, now the first point there says that when approaching a traffic circle, always give way to any vehicle approaching on your right. However, all vehicles already in the traffic circle have the right of way. And then at mini circles, any vehicle that crosses the yield line before you has the right of way. So guys, this is the mini circle. Then there's a yield line. A yield line is that line which is like this. Okay, this is a yield line, then there's a yield sign there. So any vehicle that crosses this line first, they have the right of way. So first come, first serve. First come, first serve. Okay, and then always indicate which route you intend to take to exit the circle. So you must indicate, I'm turning right. Yes, I'm going to go around the circle, but that is the route that I'm intending to take. So you must indicate. Now we come to the rules with regards to stopping your vehicle. So nakyanag. Places where you may not stop your vehicle. Remember, where you are not allowed to stop your vehicle, you are also not allowed to park. You're not allowed to stop your vehicle alongside an excavation if this obstructs traffic flow, in a tunnel, subway, or on a bridge. Within 6 meters of a tunnel, subway, or a bridge. You see here when we say within 6 meters, very important, my friend. You must remember it for your test. Within 6 meters of where the road has narrowed. The road has narrowed. Let's say the road was bigger, then the road narrows like this. Okay, within 6 meters. Within 6 meters where the road begins narrowing, you don't stop. Right. In contravention of any road sign or marking. La ozofihla khona road sign awupaki noma awumi khona. All right. On the right hand side of the road facing oncoming traffic. Okay. On the right hand side where you are facing oncoming traffic, alongside or opposite another vehicle where the road is 9 meters wide. So alongside or next to a vehicle. Let's say this road is, let's say our road, this one is 9 meters wide. So there's a vehicle that is stopped there. You are not allowed to stop here, because this road is constricted already. So if you're stopping here, then you're making very small space for vehicles that are going there and vehicles that are coming back. Right. So this is then not allowed. All right. And then okay, within the rail reserve at a level crossing. This is where I was reading. Within the rail reserve at a level crossing, within 9 meters of the approach side of a pedestrian crossing, within 1.5 meters of a fire hydrant. So if there is a fire hydrant is cisha mlilo ngathi. This thing by the side of the road, it's normally red. So it's for the fire extinguisher guys. They come, they plug in their pipes there, and then they are ready to extinguish the fire if there is a fire. All right. So within 1.5 meters of a fire hydrant, and then at any place where, Okay, this is where I'm reading now. At any place where it will cause an obstruction. Where it will cause an obstruction, you don't stop there. And then you don't stop your vehicle on a freeway. Okay, these are then all the places where you are not allowed to stop your vehicle. So let's look at the illustrations. Here is 9 meters. Here is the road that is 9 meters wide. So this vehicle has stopped here. You are also not allowed to stop here because this road will be more constricted because it is already 9 meters wide. Okay, you are not allowed to stop your vehicle on the side of the road facing oncoming traffic. You are facing oncoming traffic. Okay, you're not allowed to do that. And then let's go down to, so stopping your vehicle here, there is an excavation here. You stop your vehicle here, you are obstructing traffic already. Okay, you are obstructing traffic already. Or you are stopping here, it's not allowed also. Okay, all right, so now compulsory stops. Let's look at compulsory stops. Where is it compulsory for you to stop your vehicle? It's compulsory for you to stop your vehicle. Always stop when you are directed to do so by a traffic officer or a road sign, when you are involved in an accident, at any for any pedestrian when is about to enter a pedestrian crossing. So you must always stop for pedestrians on or about to enter a pedestrian crossing. When you are requested to do so by any police herding animals over the road. Okay, right. And then general duties of drivers and passengers. When driving, you may not do the following. When you are driving, you may not do the following. And what is that? Travel backwards longer than necessary and only when safe to do so. You may not travel backwards longer than necessary. You may not follow another vehicle closer than it is safe to do so. You may not permit another person, animal, load or anything else to hamper your complete control of the vehicle. Akumele kube nento ekuphazamisayo to control your vehicle, including observations, hearing, signaling, slowing down, and changing direction. So you must be seated in a way that you have a clear view and nothing is distracting you, right? Okay, you may not permit another person to steer or operate the vehicle. So here, you can't say, my friend, please change the gear for me. No. That one is not permitted, is not allowed. You may not leave your vehicle without setting the handbrake or to prevent it from moving. Other books will tell you that you must make means that your vehicle do not move. So you would know those means when you begin driving. Okay, you may not have any part of your body sticking out of the vehicle unless you are executing hand signals. The same applies to your passengers. You may not allow any person or animal on the roof or running board of your vehicle while it is in motion. You may not run your engine in such a way as to give off excessive smoke or fumes. You may not leave your engine running while the vehicle is unattended. Again, you may not deposit fuel, oil, grease, ashes, or any other refuse onto the road. You may not leave your engine running while fuel is being pumped into it. So when you go to the garage, you must switch off your engine. It must not be running when you are pouring petrol. You may not allow anyone to enter or leave your vehicle while it is moving. You may not drive, push or pull a vehicle on the pavement. You may not operate any communication device without a hands-free kit. Okay? And then the bold statement there. Always give way to vehicles sounding a siren. When safe to do so, it is recommended that you do not listen to excessively loud music or wear headphones whilst driving. Okay. So there, the picture illustration. Following another vehicle too closely is prohibited. Okay. Having umthwalo wakho protrude like that is prohibited. Okay. And then we go down to iy'ngane zakho akumele ihlale kanje emotweni. This is prohibited. And then you may not get off the car while the vehicle is in motion. You don't use the cell phone while you are driving. Okay. Right. Now let's go down to duties relating to motorcycles. I'm passing that for now. We're not gonna do motorcycle for now. We're gonna read the motorcycles sometime. Vehicles causing excessive noise. You may not operate a vehicle which is causing excessive noise. You may use your hooter. You may not use your hooter unnecessarily, and it must be audible at a distance of 90 meters. So one thing you must remember about your hooter when you're going for your exam, for your test, you must remember the 90 meters, that it must be audible at a distance of 90 meters. All right. Then pedestrians right of way at a pedestrian crossing. When a pedestrian crossing is situated at a traffic light, the pedestrians must obey the signal of the traffic light. So, as a pedestrian, it does not mean just because there's a pedestrian crossing, I always have the right of way. No. If there is a traffic light, the pedestrians, they have to obey the signal of the traffic light. Drivers must give right of way to a pedestrian entering or already at a pedestrian crossing. A pedestrian shall not run onto or enter a pedestrian crossing in such a manner as shall make it difficult for the driver to yield. So the pedestrian doesn't have to just jump in. All right. No driver may overtake another vehicle which has stopped at a pedestrian crossing. Okay, racing and sports on a public road. Any race or sporting event on public road must be approved by the relevant authorities. Straightforward. Now we come to we come to hindering or obstructing traffic on a public road. You may not in any way hinder the free flow of traffic, either by your vehicle or any other object. Awuphazamisi imoto emgwaqeni. And then we come to abandoned vehicles. If we say the vehicle has been abandoned, any vehicle that has been abandoned will be removed and impounded. A vehicle is considered abandoned when it is causing an obstruction, it is parked in a prohibited area, it is left standing for more than 24 hours on a public road, outside an urban area, it is left standing for more than 7 days on a public road within an urban area, it has no license or registration number, it is parked in a no stopping or no parking area. This is when your vehicle is considered abandoned. But here, I want you to underline something. You see, it's 24 hours outside an urban area, 7 days within an urban area. You must not forget that. It's very important that you always remember it for your test. Okay. Right. Now we move on to damage to public roads. You may not wheel spin or drag your wheels. You may not use shocks or shoes between any of your wheels. You may not cause any damage to the surface of a public road. So you may not cause damage to the road at any time. Right. And then freeways. You may drive on a freeway with a learner's license provided that you are accompanied by someone with a valid driving license of the same category. So that means that if your learners is for code 8, you may drive on the freeway, but the person accompanying you must be a code 8 license holder. Should a vehicle behind you wish to overtake you, use your indicator and move over to the left lane when safe to do so. Okay, now we come to the following are not allowed on a freeway. This is what is not allowed on a freeway now. Any animal-drawn vehicles, bicycles, motorcycles with an engine capacity of 50cc or less, motor tricycles or quad bikes, vehicles with a mass of 230 kgs or less, specifically constructed for disabled people, tractors, pedestrians, unless within an area reserved for stopping, or in a situation beyond their control, animals, unless in a vehicle or in an area reserved for stopping. This is then straightforward, needs no explanation whatsoever. You may not stop on a freeway unless you are instructed to do so by a traffic officer. You are in an area reserved for stopping or parking. You are in a situation beyond your control. These are the only conditions where you are allowed to stop on the freeway. All right. You may not use hand signals on a freeway unless the situation is beyond your control. So they'll always say to you, unless the situation is beyond your control. Right. And then towing. Now, very interesting. The rules with regards to towing. The length of the tow rope, tow bar, or chain between the two vehicles cannot exceed 3.5 meters. Now they're saying that a licensed driver must be in control of the towed vehicle unless the front wheels are clear of the ground or a device is used to control the steering. If the brakes of the towed vehicle are defective, it must be hooked up by means of an appropriate tow bar. A tow bar must be used to tow a vehicle in excess of 30 kilometers per hour. So this is to say that you may not exceed 30 kilometers per hour when you are using a chain or a rope. You must use a drawbar or a tow bar. Excuse me. This is straightforward. No passengers are allowed in a towed vehicle unless said vehicle is a semi-trailer. Okay, so you are not allowed, no passengers are allowed in a towed vehicle unless that vehicle is what we know as a semi-trailer. Motorcycles, tricycles, and quad bike and quadricycles may not be used for towing. You don't use a quadricycle to tow the vehicle or a motorcycle. No, don't see motor on bicycle. All right. And then the speed limits. Here are the general speed limits: 60 kilometers per hour on roads in urban areas, 100 kilometers per hour on roads outside an urban area, 120 kilometers per hour on freeways. Speed limits. Speed limits for particular class of vehicles: 80 kilometers per hour for goods or combination vehicles exceeding 9,000 kgs, and then for a bus or minibus is 100 kilometers per hour. Straightforward. Very important that you catch the speed limits guides, these ones. Then let's read on seat belts We are getting close to finishing. Seatbelts. Seatbelts are to be worn at all times, except while reversing or parking, by the driver and passengers. Any child under the age of 14 years, unless taller than 1.5 meters, must sit in the back of the vehicle. No child is allowed to sit in front, okay? An adult passenger may not sit in a seat with no seat belt or with no seat belt if there is another seat with a belt available. No person shall operate a motor vehicle on a public road unless the seat belts are fitted to such motor vehicle in a good working order. Now, listen, infants under 3 years must be seated on an appropriate child restraint seat. Ne? This does not apply in the case of public transport vehicles. Ngeke uye eteksini nesithi yomntwana uthi uzofaka isithi yomntwana, okay? Then we come to the tires. The thread of a tire must be visible and have a depth of at least 1 millimeter over the entire surface, okay? And then motorcycles of 50cc or less must have visible thread on at least 80% of the surface. Motorcycles of more than 50cc must have a visible thread of at least 1 millimeter over the entire surface of the thread. The tire must be in good control with no bludges or visible canvas. Rethread tires may not be used on motorcycles. All right. And then let's come to your lights, the lights of your vehicle. Emergency or hazard lights may only be used in an emergency or when the vehicle is stopped in a hazardous position. I'm a hazard. If you have stopped in a hazardous position, then you use them. Or if you have an emergency, then you use the hazard lights. If maybe you stopped and it's an emergency, then you switch them. Motorcycles must have their headlights on at all times. Other vehicles must have their headlights on between sunset and sunrise and when visibility is less than 150 meters. If you cannot see clearly, you switch on your headlights. Main beams, meaning bright light, should be able to illuminate objects up to 100 meters ahead. The main beams, upright wako, should be dipped in the face of oncoming traffic, and such dipped beams shouldn't illuminate the road more than 45 meters ahead. Okay. Now, the main beams, upright, to be used only when there is no oncoming traffic. You use it if there is no oncoming traffic or if you are not following any vehicle. Parking lights are to be used only when a vehicle is parked outside a parking bay or in a dark area more than 12 meters from a street light. Adjustable spotlights are only to be used by doctors, vets, at breakdowns and by official vehicles. Okay, so the 100 meters is your bright, the 45 meters is your dim. Right, and then vehicle accidents. When involved in any form of accident, you must do the following: stop your vehicle immediately, establish if there have been any injuries. If so, call the police immediately. Provide any assistance where possible to the injured. Provide your name and address, the registration number of the vehicle, and the name and address of the owner of the vehicle. Report the accident to the police station within 24 hours with your driving license in your possession. Okay, you may not take any alcohol or drug before reporting the accident. If there are no injuries, your vehicle may only be moved with the authorization of an official and only after the position of the vehicle has been marked. If no one has been injured, you may move your vehicle if it is obstructing traffic. Okay, now let's read about alcohol level and narcotic drugs. While in control of a vehicle, behind the controls of a running motor vehicle, you may not be under the influence of alcohol or any narcotic drug, nor can your blood alcohol level exceed the legal limits. The legal limit are alcohol levels of less than 0.05 grams per 100 mils of blood and 0.24 grams per 100 mils of breath for ordinary drivers and 0.02 per 100 mils and 0.10 megagrams per 1,000 mils for professional drivers. Okay, blah blah blah. Those are numbers, but the numbers that are important is 0.05 grams per 100 mils of blood and 0.02 per 100 mils of blood for professional drivers. Professional driver, that's when you get your PDP. Emergency warning triangles. All motor vehicles first registered after 1st July 2007 must carry at least one emergency warning triangle. If a vehicle is stationary on a road for any reason, the triangle must be clearly displayed at least 45 meters behind. Now, carrying passengers. Seated passengers may be carried on the back of an open truck or ITV where the sides are 350 millimeters above the seating level. Standing passengers may be carried on the back of an open truck or IDV where the sides are 900 millimeters high. Passengers on a motorcycles must wear protective headgear as prescribed. Passengers must, if fitted, wear the seat belt on the seat they occupy. No passenger in a vehicle on a public road shall permit any part of their body to protrude beyond such vehicle. Okay. Now let's talk about animals on public roads. Animals are only allowed on or near public road when under control. Such person heading animals over or on a public road must carry a warning at least 150 meters ahead and beyond ahead and behind the head as this. During the day, 300 millimeters square red flag is sufficient. At night, a red light is required. Okay, if there are less than 10 animals, only one flag or light is required. Right, now let's look at the last part and then we'll be done with the rules of the road. Carrying a load. The load must be securely fastened and may not obstruct the driver's view or control. The load may not touch the road surface. The load may not exceed 3.4 meters high from the ground on all vehicles. It may not exceed half the height of the vehicle unless it is a bicycle. May not exceed 2.5 meters in width, 2.6 for goods vehicles, with a mass of 12,000 kgs. May not project more than 300 millimeters in front of the vehicle, and they may not project more than 1.8 meters at the rear of the vehicle. So here are the illustrations rather. All right, so you can just look at them. Okay, and then safety markings. Loads that project more than 150 millimeters to the side and more than 300 millimeters to the rear must carry a red flag of not less than 300 by 300 at the corner during the day. So it's 300 millimeters square. All right, when they say 300 by 300, it's just 300 millimeters square red flag. Okay, at night, white reflectors must be attached to each corner, red reflectors at the back corner, and yellow reflectors to the sides. For loads less than 600 millimeters wide that project 300 millimeters beyond the vehicle, a red flag during the day and red flag at night. Okay, so we're not going to touch this one. So this is where we end with the rules of the road. So I hope you guys all the best, and with your test, Mr. Fork, we are Ntanda. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.